Good afternoon. Shawn here with Accelerators Organization. Hope you are having an awesome day. This is another mentor session. We've got some good questions. As a reminder, after I answer these questions, my assistant will get these over to different applicable mentors who will answer these questions as well. So keep looking here in the mobile app for more answers. Keep the questions coming along. We need more and more questions from you. We want to help you get to the next stage in your business. Make sure you're checking the notifications here on the App Store all the time, and I will get started right now. Okay, the first question comes from Robin, and Robin says, are there any routines or habits that you have learned to use for yourself that help you control the ups and downs of emotions as an entrepreneur? The background is this happens every once in a while. I am around my mother who struggles with positivity. I feel like I'm always working to keep a positive air and add that to the normal pressures and ups and downs of business. Is it okay? It is okay, but exhausting. Do you have any tips? I've got 5 different mentors answering this one for you. I'll tell you, very relatable that this week was a very emotional week for me. And I had to use a lot of the things that I've learned about. But I would say like the number one thing I have learned is to keep the big picture in mind with what's going on in life. Like I could have everything else going on great in my life. My work is good, relationships good, house, I can pay the bills, blah, 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 blah. So if something happens like that is a downer. We're on a roller coaster high and we've got the roller coaster down below. Whenever something just major happens, I just try to take my global spectrum of life into play and remember, am I happy otherwise? And generally speaking, by taking a look at my entire life, I'm not so worried or anxious or stressed about a certain instance or situation that comes up. I mean, over the course of just this year alone, I've had people screw me over big time, and it doesn't mess with my emotion. I've had people do some outrageous things to me, and you just go, you know what? Life is still good, and what can I control and what can I not? Things I do to get myself feeling good is sometimes I just take a nap and I go to sleep and just realize that it's all going to go away and I can just get some sleep. If I can't sleep, I might submerge myself into a project. I lay at the pool, I exercise, I go get a massage. I do anything and everything that's going to take my mind off of the thing that is causing me stress in the moment. Realizing after doing something that moment kind of just goes away. So find that for yourself. You might just say, I want to go paint a piece. I might want to do something. And then sometimes, I'm pretty self-sufficient, but sometimes I reach out to some really close friends of mine and advisors that are farther along in the journey than me. Most of them are older than me. And I reach out to them and say, hey, what do you think about this? I'm going through this right now. And sometimes them having a fresh perspective on it really helps me. I do that from my clients that I coach, and I can see it in them sometimes that I help them, get off of the ledge. And so I do the same thing, and I call people in my life that do that for me. Okay? Hope that helps. Okay, the next question comes from Lauren, and Lauren says, how do I hire the proper virtual assistant? The background is, I know I need a VA. Based on your experience, what are things I need in place before hiring to ensure best use of their time and my time? And are there any technologies that you use to communicate with your VA? Okay, I've got about 8 different mentors answering this one for you. And one of the mentors is a mentor here in our group that owns a VA company. And I use his company for my VA. One of the things I can say is before you hire a VA, get all of the processes and copywriting templates and email templates and things that you want them to do. Make sure you get that documented. I use Trainual, which is an amazing software. We get a 10% discount. Go into the portal, into the online training section, documenting processes and go through those videos. You want to make sure and document processes before you hire your VA. You also want to be crystal clear on what technologies and software do you need them to be well versed at when you hire them. The cool thing about Brad's company, Outsourced Access, is if you put what software requirements you have for your VA, they will go find and hire someone that knows how to use those softwares. And if they don't, they put them through a training program and teach them so you don't have to do it. It is super, super, super cool. We use, for communication between myself and my VA, I use Slack. I have a personal Zoom meeting room where we meet when we need to Zoom. She's overseas in the Philippines, so I also have her on WhatsApp so that we can have quick phone calls and email. And that's it. Those are the technologies we use. Well, and Trainual, of course. Okay, the next question comes from Marcus. And Marcus says, mentally, what helped you transition from solopreneur to business owner in the beginning? The background is I know to build a company, I need to hire people. I do 6 figures with clients now, and it's a mental thing to hire other technicians in my businesses and pay them from money I earn now so I can do more selling. How do I get over this mental challenge? Okay, I've got a bunch of mentors answering this one for you. I have to say, I never really thought about this when I was growing my company. I just knew that I wanted to keep growing, and I love selling new clients. So my focus was always on trying to get more clients. And then as I get more clients and I couldn't fulfill the work, I just naturally started hiring more operational people. And then I realized that I wanted to grow even faster. So I hired a salesperson because we had a very specific audience of target customers that we called after our hotels. And it was easy to get leads for that because there's books full of hotel information and we would just dial for dollars. And so it was very easy to train someone on how to do sales for our company. I never had a real mindset shift about it. But like many solopreneurs, when I first started my business, my last business, I was not doing well financially, and I just needed to make a certain amount of money to survive. And it took me a couple years to get to that point. And then once I got to that point, I started really enjoying that the company was growing and we were succeeding. And I always had a growth mindset. I always had that I wanted to just continue to grow. So it wasn't the mindset of wanting to do it. What helped me through it was I just put numbers down on a piece of paper. And I said, okay, right now I'm bringing in this much money. If I hire somebody, I can bring in this much more money and then I can afford to pay them. And I always just instinctually knew how much I could afford to pay somebody and I would make it work. It wasn't until I really started hiring a lot of people that I started going, I might need to get, a financial planner of some sort, my bookkeeper, my accountant, CFO, to really help me analyze these things because I want to make sure that I'm making a profit in the company too. But in the beginning days, we kind of know instinctually what we can afford to pay somebody. And so if you know that you want to at least get to $1 million, you have to just trust that you know that you're going to need to hire that team. Just start putting it down on paper. If I hire this person, how is that going to help me make another $100,000, another $200,000? Always be thinking about sales first and then hiring operational people to meet the demands of the work that you're bringing in. And that was always my philosophy. Okay, sales first, manufacturing and operations second. Okay, next question comes from Gerald, and Gerald says, how do I ensure quality control in my business? The background is I own a roofing company, and roofing I will have laborers I have to manage, and I want to be able to manage multiple projects at once. I don't know how to set up processes that ensure that my laborers are doing the right job so I don't have to oversee every step. Any suggestions? Okay, I've got about 6 different mentors answering this one for you, Gerald, and you and I have spoken about this because I've been coaching you and Kim. One of the things I would look at doing is finding a general manager or a labor manager or a foreman or whatever you call that crew leader, and I would want them to know how to do every job that we do the exact same way that I would do it. I'd want them to be kind of my apprentice to learn how to manage the entire project, including managing the other laborers and subcontractors you're using. How do you meet everybody in the morning? What do you guys do for food and breaks? How do you finish the day? How do you check in equipment, check out equipment, make sure that everything is turned back in, time clocks, all that, time cards, all that kind of stuff. I would have somebody be kind of your right-hand person, an apprentice, that you train on how to do things the Top Gun way, okay? And then test them. Let them do a couple projects without you, and then maybe you come in at the end of the day or the end of the project to just check it for quality assurance. And you just go in on an incremental time basis to make sure that they're doing things the way that you want it done. And over time, you're going to build that trust, and you're going to know that they're doing a good job. And then, then you're off to building a second crew, and then a third crew, and a fourth crew. But those kinds of things are going to come from relationship building, because a lot of times I'm assuming yours is not as easy as follow this process on a Microsoft Word document. Yours is very fluid as far as what kind of job you're doing when you're doing a roofing project. So it's really going to come down to trusting that crew leader to know what they are doing just as well as you do, so that you have that trust built with them. Okay? Hope that helps. Okay, the next question comes from Kim, and Kim says, Kim says, how do I justify hiring a personal and admin assistant? The background is I have a life insurance business and I help my husband's business, Top Gun Roofing. I know I can do more in both of our businesses if I take some of the load off from my business and admin work, as well as my personal family stuff. We have 7 kids. I also have a fear that I'm not being a good mother. I'm afraid I may not be able to pay, and how much does it take away from my family income? Okay, I've got about 7 or 8 mentors answering this one for you, Kim. This is a tough one for me to answer because I don't have any kids, so I don't understand the pressure of being away and not raising my kids. So I'm not sure I can really talk about that, but a couple of the other mentors can. As far as being able to know whether you can afford it, it just takes getting down and understanding your budget and saying, okay, if I free up this amount of time, can I use that time effectively to produce more revenue for that hour that I'm paying somebody else to work for me? So I put it into 2 buckets. I'm going to pay someone so that I can then work those hours and bill out and make more money, or B, I'm going to pay someone so that I free up my personal time so I have more personal time to have quality time with my family, my friends, my kids, etc. So as you're analyzing it, take a look at it from both perspectives. Are you buying some time in your life that can make you more money, and or are you buying time so that you can have more quality time with other things in your life that are priority? So that's what I would look at. I always like to start with, can I leverage somebody else's time so I can go make more money? And then once I do that, then I start looking at, now how can I leverage somebody's time to have more time off? Okay, so that's kind of how I take the approach. Okay, I hope that helps. Okay, the next question comes from Alyssa, and Alyssa says, how do I partner with my spouse to support them in their company? The background is my husband and I own a landscaping business. I left my full-time job in March to be full-time in the business. Prior to that, he was performing 100% of the tasks. It's very hard for him to give up the control and trust that the employees and myself can perform these tasks without him overseeing everything. How can I get him to open up and let me do more? Okay, I've got about 7 or 8 different mentors answering this one for you. So I've never worked with somebody who has been my spouse, but I've had a girlfriend in the past work with me, and people I've been in a relationship with. They always say, as an entrepreneur, the easiest way to get a cheapest assistant is to start dating somebody. So I know this feeling pretty well. So first off, you already know that your husband is a control freak and he wants everything done. So one of the things you can do is just start taking one task at a time. Just talk to him and say, hey, what is one task that you don't like doing that if I could do it, it would free up some of your time? And then say, why don't you take the necessary time to train me how to do it the way that you want to, and I'll document it and make sure that I have it down packed. And then after I do it after I do it each time, you can critique me and give me feedback to let me know if I did it adequately and correctly the way that you want it done. During that time period, you might want to do it the way they want it done, even if you think there's a better way of doing it, because they're going through emotionally giving up control, which can be emotional to them. So just take one thing at a time. And then, if it were me, I would call in the wife card, say, hey, listen, I quit my job to help you do this. You've got to let me do this. Otherwise, you're sleeping out in the driveway with the dog. I'm not saying go that far, but just have a conversation and say, obviously you trust me, you're married to me. Just what do we have to do to start getting one task at a time off your plate that I can help you with? I know that your husband, specifically Alex, he really wants to grow and he's open to it. He just really needs to firmly believe that you can do the task, and just tell him to train you and give you feedback on the first few. And I think you guys will be okay. All right. Hope that helps. Okay. Next question comes from Sam. And Sam says, what is the best time management and budgeting software for personal and business? The best time management and budgeting software. Okay, those are kind of two different things. So for time management, I really just like to use whatever calendar I'm using on my computer. I use Microsoft Outlook. And so I always know what I want to accomplish each day within my task list. Like I really love in the morning with a pad of paper and a pencil, and you might use the computer or your phone, but I like a good old-fashioned piece of paper and a pen, and I write down all the things that I know I want to get done that day, and I match it with what my schedule looks like. So if I have calls back to back from 8 to 3 o'clock, and I know there's a lot of things I want to get done, I might just put an asterisk by the things I think I can get done that day that need to be done, and then the others I'll just carry over until the next day. So I love just using a piece of paper and a pen. And I also like just using whatever calendar you're using. So you might, if you have an iPhone, you could use the Apple Calendar. If you're using a computer, you could use the Apple Calendar, or you could use, I use Microsoft Outlook on my computer, and that synchronizes with my Apple scheduler on my phone. So that's what I do. As far as budgeting software, in the beginning when it's just your personal finance, I like using Quicken. It's a software. QuickBooks for business, Quicken for personal. Quicken will allow you to input every bit of income that you have coming in from every different resource, and then it will also let you track every expense you have going out. And it can help you. It has pie charts, and it'll help you tell you can categorize all your expenses so you know what you're spending on what and where money's coming in. It's the best personal financial software that I can think of. Okay, I think there's another one. Microsoft Money might still be out there, but I like Quicken. Okay, I hope that helps. And the last question comes from Ricardo, and Ricardo says, as a business owner in general, what relationships are key to having my network as I build? The background is my background is in service. I own a barber shop, and I'm also a barber. I need to continue building relationships. I'm in AO, obviously, and I'm in Toastmasters. I also attend some industry events. I worry I might not have some critical contacts in my network that I'm not thinking about. Any idea? Okay, I've got about 7 different mentors answering this one for you. I always think it's great to have an accountant that you can talk to when you have accounting and bookkeeping questions. I always think it's good to have an attorney, at least just for contracts in your network. I always think it's good to have or know somebody who is a DUI attorney, just in case for some reason you drink and you get pulled over and you need one. So don't let that happen, but it's always good to have that when you need it. I also think it's good to have a good life insurance agent that knows that if something happens to you, that they know who to get to for the policies. Speaking of, it's always good to have a good will or something. So if something happens to you, somebody in your life who would survive you knows what should happen. What else? I think obviously being in AO, you've got great mentors and business advisors and great other small business owners to network with. What else? I always think it's good to know somebody that understands Excel really well. Like Dan here in the group knows Excel. That's all I can think of off the top of my head. Yeah, that's it. All right, that's today's mentor session. You're watching this in the mobile application. I hope you enjoyed this. Take a moment right now and think about something that's going on in your life or your business that you could use some feedback on. Click the button at the bottom right-hand side of the screen. Click Ask a Question and ask a question. And remember, you can also book a call with me at no charge. Since we aren't doing the weekly Zooms right now, you can book a call with me at no charge. Just click on Book a Call with Shawn, and I'm more than happy to jump on the call with you for 15 minutes and just talk through some things that you need some help with. So take advantage of that as well. All right. Hope you have a great day, and peace out.